Please.
All right, great. So I'm going to call the meeting to order of the December 9th Open Space Committee meeting. It's 6:05. And tonight we have 4 members of the Open Space Committee present and a couple that expect to come in a little bit late and one person who's unable to make it tonight. So present are Janet Brown, Paula Mack, Diana Fetterman, and myself, Cindy Palmer. And we have 2 members of the public or guests that I see. So the first thing is to introduce the members of the public and invite them to see if they want to comment or wait to another point in the meeting to speak. It's your choice. So would you introduce yourself, Bridget?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Bridget Likely. I'm a conservation manager at Kestrel Land Trust, and I'm hoping to talk to all of you tonight about where we are in terms of putting a project together on the Courtney property on Pomeroy Meadow Road.
Thanks, Bridget. Chris, did you want to say anything right now, or you want to wait a little, or do you want to?
Yeah, no, I'll jump in now if I can, Cindy. I may not be able to stay through the whole meeting. I have something else at 6:30, but I'll stay as long as I can. Basically, I just wanted to fill you in on the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. As you know, Southampton joined that. This is through the National Wildlife Federation. We signed on to the pledge back in the spring, I think April, May-ish sometime. And one of the 3 activities that were sort of pledged was the idea of a pollinator garden that was going to be championed by the Open Space Committee. And then there was also a potential pollinator plant sale and or swap by the Friends of the Southampton Open Space. That particular one did not have any activity to my knowledge, but I have done a report. There was an annual report that was required last week to NWF. All the towns and cities in the states that have signed on have to tell them what we did. So I took some just a brief paragraph, Cindy, that you had given me, and I think I added some photos of the invasive posters, for example. But I just tried to get photos of the work that had been done on Church Hill. So the work that the church had done with the pollinator gardens. So I tried to stretch it as much as I could, but I did put in also for open space the design of your proposed pollinator garden area on the watershed property. And so that has been included and sort of said that that's one of the things that we're really working towards for next year. So just let you know, it's up on the NWF website under the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and you have to just look for Southampton, I guess, to get into it. So
Thanks. I'm going to give you a small update on that, on the pollinator garden on the Water Commission property. And that is that this conservation restriction is held by Kestrel Land Trust.
Right.
And it was sent to, oops, help me the name, Bridget. Who's the gentleman? Is it named Stewart? Somebody who?
Yes, Stu Watson.
What's his last name?
Watson.
Stu Watson. Okay. So he approved the project in terms of holding the CR. Did you know that, Chris? You may have known.
Yeah, that was part of the letter that was attached in the stuff you sent me from Charlie.
Oh, good. Okay.
There was the approval letter. Yeah, exactly. So that's great. No, good news. Yep. So hopefully we'll get that off the ground in the spring next year. That'd be great.
Wonderful. Very good. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for that. Okay, so let's move next to approval of minutes. And I think I can do this, I hope. Hold on here. Share screen. Draft minutes, 11:17. Okay, oops, what happened? Are you able to see the minutes, anybody? Did I share them well enough here? Yeah, they're there. Okay, so I know Janet sent them out ahead of time. This was the meeting that was kind of fast. Janet, remind me, did we fail to do minutes of the previous meeting? Oh, no, we didn't. We did the minutes of November 12th. At that meeting. Great. So I don't know if anyone has any comments, wishes to make a motion to accept as written. Anybody?
I thought it was a good job.
Are you making a motion to accept as written, Diana?
Oh, okay. So moved.
All right, motion to accept. And do I hear a second?
Second,
Who was that? Paula? Thank you, Paula.
sorry.
Okay, great. And any other discussion, or shall we all vote? I'm going to do a roll call. It's easier this way. Myself, yes. Janet?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Okay, great. Unanimously accepted. Thank you very much. So I got to go back to stop share. I can figure this out. One of these days I'll learn. The whole pandemic will be over by the time I learn how to do this, you know. Here's the stop share.
Right.
I'm not getting the thing at the bottom. Is it at the top?
At
No.
the top, Cindy.
Oh, there it is. You're right. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Okay, so the next thing is committee reports, only as if there's anything specific as pertaining to open space, because I'm really want to give a lot of time to Bridget. And also, we do have a 7 o'clock brief, super brief executive committee meeting. So, Paul, is there anything you want to say about parks?
No, at this time, I really don't have anything to add with our last meeting, but we meet next week, so maybe we'll have something next time.
And you do have one item, I think, on the warrant for the special town meeting, which is Tuesday. And that relates to the approval of the CPC funding to work with the park grant, right?
Right.
Okay, great. That's good. Good time to plug. Everybody go to that meeting if you possibly can, because a quorum is needed for 50 to meet a quorum, and it's nerve-wracking because of the new variant that, you know, we want to make sure and get a quorum there. Thank you. Conservation Commission, Diana, do you want to make any report on anything special?
I hadn't thought about it. No, I don't think so. We did get the kiosk installed. I'm still very excited about that at Manhattan Meadows. There are like a lot of discussions with regulations is what's going on with them right now. Jan
Okay, very
will tell
good.
you.
All right, very good. And Janet, do you want to say anything about CPC?
We just met on November 3rd. We discussed the splash pad, which has already been mentioned. And Cindy talked about the Walcott Road project, if you want to talk about what we did on that.
Well, I'll do that in a moment, a
Okay.
little bit later. Thanks.
I'm all set.
Okay, super. So Joy's not here. Chris, do you want to just say anything about the select board and specific to open space issues at this moment or not? You don't have to, but.
Not totally sure if it really qualifies under open space, but there is a property for sale on College Highway, 217 College Highway, and the select board had been approached by the real estate agent just asking whether or not the town might have interest in it. It borders a very small property that we already own, and it also backs out onto the back of town hall / police station. We talked about it very briefly at select board this week. It's, I think, 1.3 acres, if I'm not mistaken.
I actually have that a little later on the agenda.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Anyway, just to say that select board was saying that they were interested enough to explore it, at least. We didn't know what we might do with it or what, but it just seemed like an opportunity that we should at least investigate more.
Okay.
Given that we own the two properties right next to it. So Ed is going to reach out to the realtor and just find out a little bit more information, I guess. So
Great. All right. We will talk about that after Bridget speaks. So I hope you're still here at that point. That's great. And let's see here. So we don't have an assessor's report tonight, and we don't have, planning board, nothing to specifically say related to open space. We are mired in zoning bylaw review. It's going on and on and on. There's nothing else to say about that. Okay, so I'm going to move now to, actually it's new, well, it's not, it's old business. Bridget, I can pull up the map that you supplied earlier. So Bridget's going to talk about a piece of property that Kestrel and specifically Bridget has been working with. So, okay. Can everybody see that map? All right.
All right.
So Bridget,
great,
why don't
thank
you jump right in there?
Okay. So you described this as old business, so stop me if I'm repeating what you already know. But this is a piece of property owned by the Courtney family. It's 83 acres. We were first approached by them, I think back in 2016, 2017 by John Courtney, who spoke with our conservation director, Mark, at the time about conservation options for this property. And things kind of fell away, and sadly, John passed away not long ago. But this summer, the conversation picked up again with his widow, Mary Beth Courtney, and really started to move more actively. And so Mark and I met with her and some other members of the family to talk about what their interests were. We did some mapping to look at the values of the land. Historically, the front has been farmed in the past. You can see there's wetlands, forest land. It's a pretty diverse property. A lot of nice values about it. And we were back and forth about what fit best in terms of finding funding for them, whether it's something where they would continue to own it and hold a CR, or whether they were looking to sell it outright. They've been reached out by developers to turn this front meadow portion into a development. And so I think that's really what spurred their reach out to Kestrel. And so after a lot of back and forth, they mentioned they'd received a mailing regarding the Barnes Aquifer and how the land fit into drinking water protection for the town. And so that really sparked our interest as well as a potential drinking water supply grant from the state. And so Cindy and I had a conversation yesterday with the Water Commission, and it was a very positive meeting, I thought. They were very interested in taking this on as something they would own. And so Kestrel has done an appraisal of this land using some of our funding, and it's been appraised at $385,000. If they were to sell outright, if they were just to do a CR, they would sell the CR at $310,000, but we're hoping to just do that outright sell to the town. So kind of where things are now is I'm hoping to go back to the family with this information. And if they're still on board and enthusiastic about this direction, then I think we would actively pursue the drinking water supply grant, which opens up in February of 2022 and is due in May. And so Kestrel would work with the water department to submit that application, hopefully hear back sometime in the fall. This is a state grant that can reimburse the town up to 50% of the cost. And so we would seek to get that 50% match through CPA. And I know Cindy spoke with CPC last night.
That is great. A couple things. You said to me last evening or yesterday that Kestrel would do the legwork for the application on the grant, which, as you know, we're a town of volunteers. So that's one point that I think is really important. And in terms of going to the Water Commission, it was extremely positive. Joe Slattery, whom some of you know as a longtime expert in water in our town and seems to know every square inch of the town in terms of what's below the top. He said this is really an important area. They didn't take a vote because they were missing one of their commissioners. Is it Tim Gaudette they were missing? And but nonetheless, we asked for just sort of what they thought about it, and they were very, very much supportive of the conservation of this area. So I think that we should, first of all, ask Bridget any other questions that come to mind. But I think it would be important for the Open Space Committee to take a position on this in terms of we can vote. Do we Well, first of all, are there questions for Bridget? From anybody?
Yeah, could you tell me what the yellow lines on the map represent? I can't, maybe it's in the legend.
Yeah, so the yellow lines and the red lines are soil types in regards to agriculture. So I think the yellow is statewide important farmland, and then the red squiggly lines, that's prime farmland. So
I thought the red was the property that we're looking at.
yes, the bright red is the property we're looking at, but you see there's like orange and
Oh,
yellow.
yes, now I
That's
see.
farmland
Yeah,
soil.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is showing it. And then there's another map that I gave to Cindy that's more focused on the drinking water supply, its relation to the aquifer. I don't know if it's worth pulling that up as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't actually prepare it for sharing
Oh, that's okay.
tonight.
I can-
But you did give another one, which is kind of multiple color coding in terms of the aquifer. If you feel, go ahead.
I was going to ask a quick question. Thanks. With the meeting with the water commissioners, was the water superintendent there as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
Tom was there. Yeah.
Okay. And then you mentioned this, the drinking water grant, that's different from the LWCF grant.
Correct. Yeah. LWCF is federal funding. This would be just state funding.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned that developers were interested in it, but I don't see much frontage at all. So,
So I can't remember exactly how many house lots to get out of it, but they had a developer actually like put together a plan for them. And you see this, big entryway here. So that would be a drive. And then they basically square off that whole field and subdivide it into several lots. I think maybe 6 or 7 they had proposed. So
they wanted a subdivision, not just, they're all can you see my little cursor there?
yeah.
These are, actual houses some of you are probably familiar where they are. And then there's a house way back here by somebody who I wrote down the name Hurd. I don't know them. This is a barn over here. This is the bridge way back here. But so Bridget, what the developer thought was that a road could go in here and then this would be like a subdivision. Is that the idea?
yeah, absolutely. I think that wasn't really of interest to the family because they do kind of value the scenic quality of it and have an attachment to the land. They did consider whether they could put in their own just like single house lot in the back, but that would really cut off any remaining frontage and development potential. And so the value would go way down. And so I think it's kind of all or nothing for them. And so we're hoping that they're just ready to move forward on this, protecting the whole 83 acres.
How many acres is this in the red outlined area?
83.
83, okay.
Pretty big. You said that the match, it's a 50% grant and then the match. Could we also apply for a land grant to combine it with that or?
I would need to double check on if you can double up on land and drinking water supply. I imagine it's possible. I think some timing comes in.
Oh, yeah.
So I did present this at CPC last night. Just our chairperson of CPC definitely felt it was important to at least present this. There was no vote. It was just the concept was presented and the fact that we would need, CPC to support the 50%, but also has to go to town meeting. And I think I understood from you, Bridget, yesterday that we wouldn't need a CPC vote for a while. It wouldn't be this next regular town meeting in May.
No. So either the next special town meeting in the fall or the following spring, I think would be fine. We just need to have the funds voted on before closing. And I think we're thinking this project would close summer of 2023 if we were to move forward.
That would be good. There's a lot of sort of projects that are out there.
Yes.
And we would get our 2023 match, or at least our 2022 match. By that time, we'd know what our balances are. So that'd be good. Sorry, Diana, go
No,
ahead.
that's all right. What was I gonna say? Oh, yes, when it's a water grant, we have one on Pomeroy Meadow too, down the road on Pomeroy Meadow. People can still walk on it, right? We couldn't
Yes.
really create trails, or could we?
I think some passive recreation would be allowable. I think we would have to go back to the Water Commission and see, what they're willing to do. So because it's CPC, Kestrel would hold a conservation restriction on the land. So the water department holding with Kestrel having the CR. And so we would work together to just decide the terms of the CR and what's allowable. And so if that was obviously something that would create more support within the town and CPC, I think that's worth discussing.
Definitely, because we don't really have any recreation. Well, across the road, we have a little bit too, so, but not on that side.
We have a little bit over here down where I am here, and this kind of watery thing here. It's called the Nancy Whittemore? It's kind of small, needs some work, but yeah, we got it across back here as a walking trail area. Other questions or comments? So I think it would be important to decide whether we want to take a vote of the Open Space Committee members that are present as to whether we support the project going forward, or if anybody feels like, because we're only a committee of 4 tonight, we're just barely a quorum, would we want to wait? I support having an opinion or a vote tonight, if possible. And I don't know if is any new people shown up? I don't think so. No. Okay. So what does anyone think? Do I hear a vote to support the project as presented by Bridget?
I think we should vote on it tonight, Paula.
Okay. So do you want to make a motion, Paula?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we take a vote and on this project as it's written or stated.
As presented by Bridget.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call. Diana Fetterman,
Yay.
Janet Brown. Did she speak?
Yeah.
Janet?
Yes.
Okay, Paula,
Yay.
Cindy, yes. Okay, great. So unanimous for the people present. All right, Paul, that is really helpful. Bridget, you are terrific. We are so glad you're working with Kestrel. I mean, Mark is fantastic, but I know Mark has like more irons in the fire than
Oh my
whatever.
gosh, yes. Yeah.
And so we have other things cooking. Now, if you can stay a little bit longer, I don't know if you can do that, but I'd like to go to another old business point. And by the way, Janet, for the purpose of the minutes, this property, I believe that we just talked about, the Courtney property, that's on map 8. And I believe it's lot number 1 on Assessor's map 8.
Okay.
So that's really good. Can I just ask another question while we're still on Courtney? Bridget, Mark told me that the people on the other side of the Manhan, which is actually in Easthampton, he thinks that there might be a conversation with those landowners at some point, now that the Courtneys have come forward on this. Do you have any knowledge of that, or?
I mean, I know that Mark has been having, over the course of several years, been having a conversation with them, and he sees this as a big opportunity. I don't think he's moved any further on that, but I can check in with him next time we.
Okay.
Yeah.
He also, at one point, was talking to one of our other property owners. sort of going up towards Glendale Road, which is the Raymonds. They have a big farm up there. They're
Yes.
a horse farm. And I don't know where that stands. At one point, I know he was talking to them, and I don't know where that stands, but that's on the other side. And then, of course, Glendale Ridge is up there, the winery, as well as other property, including O'Leary's and whatever. So we know there's other property up there, and we know currently it's all open space except for what's right along the roads. So that's just something else. Okay, so moving
And sorry,
on.
I just had one thought pop into my head.
Good.
Following back up with someone asked about the land grant potential, and I realized I didn't think about this. So with the drinking waters protection grant, the match can't come, I think, from additional state funding. So it has to be municipal or private funding.
All right,
That's why we couldn't
makes
go.
sense.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, moving on. So we have another, and I don't have a map to put on share screen, but we've been talking, we in Open Space have been talking for quite a while about some land. I don't know how familiar you are with the town property going off the end of Wolcott Road. And there's a couple of landlocked parcels. One of them's considered to be 40 acres. And we've actually made a formal offer to enter into a contract, not a purchase and sale, a contract to sell. That's lot 12, parcel 10, 40 acres. I'm going to go ahead and give the name. It's the Trinceris, Trinceri. We were required to make an offer based on an appraisal, and our town administrator agreed that the appraised value we could use for this level of involvement is to use the appraisal on, the appraisal on the assessor's maps. So that's what we did. I sent that out. It'll be about a year now. And a week. Hopefully I haven't seen a response yet, nor they know my email, they know my phone number, and I hope it is mailed to the town hall. But so consequently, we haven't got a result on that, but we're crossing our fingers. So that's just an update for this committee. The second part is there's a smaller lot on the west side of that, which is really also very landlocked. All of it is right next to the town of Southampton land that includes the Great Mountain Trail. The smaller lot is not on the assessor's map, but there is a deed for it. Unfortunately, it just never made it for some reason onto the assessor's map. It's owned by a local person named Mark Johnson. He's very eager to have the town have some interest in it. And Diana and I bushwhacked our way up there several weeks ago with the owner, Mark Johnson. And I don't know whether or not it really, in my opinion, links to whether or not the Trinceris come forward and want to sell the property, because just buying the other lot hanging up there, I don't know if that's the right thing. So I'm opening this up for discussion for anybody who wants to ask questions, and whether the committee that's present tonight is interested in having us kind of go a little bit further on this, if in fact the Trinceris come through, because it's all going to work very fast. We also are looking at a potential for a grant to be a 50% grant, and that's help me with that, is that a LWCF grant?
LCWF.
LCWF grant. So I have to let the grant person at the state, Melissa Crean, at least know that we're thinking about that. Do you know her, Bridget? Do you know Melissa Crean?
Yep,
Yeah,
I do know her.
great. So she needs to know, I think by next Wednesday. By the way, I'm flying to France Thursday. But whether or not we're at least interested, which will require an appraisal by a what's called a yellow book appraiser. And I've sent an email. Hey there. Hi, April. I've sent an email to a person that we had speak at our neighborhood outreach program last spring, and that's Ellen Anderson, who is listed as a Yellow Book appraiser and a certified appraiser. So I haven't heard back from her, nor have I heard back from the Trinceres, nor have I got really enough to go to Melissa. But I feel like the Open Space Committee should understand all of these potentials that are coming together. I don't know that I need a motion tonight, but I just need discussion. April, we're throwing out the discussion of if the Trinceres come forward and enter into this contract to purchase that we hope that will happen, which we haven't had a response from yet. We're talking about the potential for making an offer to the Mark Johnsons, which is, as you know, west of that, up there on the ridge. Anybody have comments or questions or anything?
Well, I can't see us making an offer for Mark Johnson's property if we don't have the Trinceres, because it's just isolated, right?
Totally agree with that. Yep.
So I feel like we just wait. And,
Okay.
we'll know in a week, I think, if we haven't heard from them, whether they're interested. If they don't respond, that means we're not getting it from them, right?
That's my opinion. What do you think, April? Do you want to add anything to April works so much with me on this.
So I would agree. I mean, no response is a response. So if we don't hear anything back, then they are not interested at this time.
Yeah.
And we kind of have to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Anybody else want to bring?
Well, if we do hear back and they are interested, then we have to move fast on that grant. And I think I'm kind of the lead person on it, but I might need some help
okay.
too.
Okay.
I think
All
when
right.
it's due, it's due in February, maybe.
Yeah, there's an email was sent to Melissa Crean. You saw the response on that. So yeah, we're going to have to move fast. For me, it's going to be after I get back from France, which is the 27th of December.
Well, I think for everybody, there's going to be a hiatus because it's the holidays. So.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm just kind of giving you an update, unless you have other questions or anything. So that's just one of the things that's happening, Bridget. There's more, but that's one of them. So.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but otherwise, thank you very much for coming. If you want to check out.
Okay, I might duck out, but thank you so much for having me.
All right. Happy
Nice to meet
holidays
you.
to you, Bridget.
Yes, nice to meet you all. Take care.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye. All right, so let's see here. The next piece of business is what Chris mentioned earlier, which is College Highway, number 217 College Highway. Hi, Joy. Glad you're here. Hi there. We kind of talked about a few things already, but for now, we're just going to move on. I think you know about this one, 217 College Highway, because Chris was here a little while ago, and she said that was mentioned at the select board last night.
Yes. Yep. We talked about it last night.
So some of you may know this. It's a residential home, and it's right next to the property that was the former Grange Hall, but is now a weedy lot. And it is owned by a resident, former police chief, who's moving out of town. The asking price right now is $369,900, and it could be less because the owners are prepared to do some septic work, I guess, but they wouldn't if the town thought that they wanted that property in order to use it for something. Do you want to add, Joy, whatever was
Public
discussed
safety
last night?
complex. Because apparently I haven't looked at the assessor's map since we discussed the property, but it abuts other town-owned property, and obviously it's across from the town hall and the fire department. So it would be considered for public safety or for affordable housing or open, because I guess there is acreage involved as well between the different lots, so open space. But I think primarily it was thought for a good area for public safety complex.
I think it's on map 24. I'm looking now. Hold on.
I'm just wondering why it's an issue for open space.
It's just space.
I think they just brought it up just in case, yeah, because it's abutting other properties. I don't know. I think they're just bringing it up, wanted to bring it up to all the
It's all
committees.
very interesting and all. I just didn't think it would be something our committee would be weighing in on.
Yeah, I think we just wanted all the committees to just see if there's any interest.
Okay.
I really appreciate that, you know, these things are going out to the various committees. I mean, certainly the Public Safety Complex Committee or whatever it will be named or whatever its charge will be eventually is important. But the fact that they're even asking for our thoughts, I think it's important. It's not open space in some definitions, but.
So it's map 23, lot 49.
Thank you.
It's 1.3 acres. It abuts the Grange property, which is almost a third of an acre that the town bought. I think we paid between $9,000 and $10,000 for it. Maybe I'm a little off. And it also abuts the back of the parking lot for the Old Town Hall and Police Station.
Not a very,
April, can you tell me if, in your opinion, I tried to figure this out, the other property that we heard about, the Wright property, W-R-I-G-H-T on East Street, I don't think there's any connection to that.
No, there's a few feet where the pin is, yeah, they don't connect. Whether we could buy the back part of number 72, parcel 72, then they could connect, but it doesn't connect right now.
Okay. So do we have any other comments? I don't think we need to do any kind of motion tonight, but is any other thoughts on this? My general feeling is it's worth exploring a little further, but not necessarily to make an offer on it at this point, because we don't have a specific need, a specific project in mind, unless the owners need to sell it right away, and that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Do you know, has there been any interest? Does anybody know, Paula or April, do you know if there's been, I know it's Darcy's listing.
Yeah. I know they've had one price reduction.
Oh, what's
so
it down to?
I don't know if there's serious interest yet. I don't know what the new price is. Cindy, sorry.
Okay. Okay. All right. No other comments? So we don't have any specific thing to say either negatively or, anything else at this point. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. Just for information purposes that it's out there.
got it.
All right. So what time is it here? 6:43.
43.
So as far as other old business, I have not begun to look at this neighborhood outreach grant thing. I'm not giving up on it, but I'm, just been over the top with other stuff that I've been doing. So my intent is to look at it again in January, which means, and also continued contact with landowners. I did have a very positive response from a landowner way up on the Fulmer Road, way up near the Westhampton line. And that's the property that's owned by Norton Garfinkel. I think it's on map 5. Mr. Gard, or Dr. Garfinkel, I guess he is. He's, no, it's on lot 4, on 4. Or maybe it's on 10. He is he's a gentleman in his 90s from what I understand, and he's not been well, but his wife responded to an email from me. I'm sorry. It's map 9, parcel, maybe parcel 3. And it's at least 159 or so acres, maybe more. I don't know. His wife responded. Her name is Sally Menard. She wants to talk with me in January. And Janet's gonna, once I get around to organizing myself, Janet's gonna try to make a contact with the attorney that represents another landowner up there. That's Barry Brook. Where'd that go? Just haven't gotten around to giving her some suggestions for making the contact. But that's just all the work we need to do, everybody. A lot of stuff going on. Okay. Anything else? New business, old business? Charlie couldn't make it tonight, April and Joy, but he's going to be ready to talk in January again about I know, it's Berry Brook Forest, Janet. It's in chapter 61. It's on map 11, lot 2, and maybe it's 44 acres or something. And Richard Evans is the agent for the company out of Montpelier, Vermont. We can talk a little more later. Go ahead, Joy.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew what was going on, heard about town meeting for next week, and that they're putting forth the 5 motions in regards to CPC grants and getting the auditor done for 2020 and getting taxes or auditing done for 2021. So big things that we have to get done before the end of the year. That's going to be up first. I know the libraries, people will want the library, but we're going to prioritize those first and then see how many people stay. I know there was a motion that night to postpone the entire town meeting to February, but the majority of us felt that that would not be in the best interest financially for the town, and we would be in a deficit. So I just want to let you know the town meeting's still going on, and it might be shorter than anticipated. So if you can come, please come. If not, we understand.
Thank you, Joy. I'm actually going to send an email out to some people I know in town, urging them to come because we need the 50-person quorum, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so good. If everybody present at this meeting can bring 1 or 2 others or mention it to 1 or 2 others that you know, so we can get as many people there as possible. That's really important. I hope the library trustees are all there. That's pretty critical. So that's good.
The board of trustees for the library have been very anxious about this, that article. They've come to almost every town meeting to make sure it's even on the warrant. So they're good at rallying. I think they're ready.
Well, I was a trustee once, and I'll tell you, Barbara doesn't let anything grow under your feet. She's always saying, come with me to the select board, come with me. She's great. She works hard on that. Okay. So let's talk about the next meeting of this. That's the next piece of business here. So Thursday, the January. Shall we do the second Thursday, the 13th? Is that good for everyone?
Wait a minute.
I don't hear any negative comments.
Will it have to be Zoom still, or do we not know?
Well, I'm voting that it still be Zoom because of the variant. Okay. And I don't know what everybody else feels. Does anybody else want to comment on Zoom versus live?
I'm fine with Zoom.
You like Zoom, Paula? Good.
Zoom is okay with me. I prefer being in person, but I can certainly understand why people wouldn't want to be.
The day will come when we can all get together. And believe me, if we were together tonight, I'd be passing out cookies and, spiked eggnog and all the good stuff.
I definitely like being together now.
We'll delay it till at some point in the future. Okay, so let's do that for January 13, 6 p.m. Zoom at this point. All right. I don't know if we can jump in on the next meeting. We have to end this meeting, adjourn, and go off this Zoom invitation in order to bring in the executive session meeting. It's pretty important because we need to finally approve the minutes of the meeting from way back in March, which I'm prepared to put up that actually Diana took so that we can finally post those because they're late. All right, so do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. All right, so give yourself 5 minutes, use the restroom if you need to, and we'll come back on, okay?
Thank you.